Yo, what is up? It is your boy Zither, back at it again with a brand new part to What If Deku was Mael's reincarnation. So guys, on the last part, I did a little bit of a done goofing because I messed up and I had said that Bakugo had one for all. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, I completely let that slip by. I mean, I get confused with all the what ifs that I have, honestly. But yeah, if you heard that, just kind of disregard that. You know, Bakugo just doesn't have one for all. Mirio has it in this version. And that's really all I got to say before the video gets started. Oh yeah, let's just go ahead and do the recap and then get started. So yeah, let's go. So in the last part, we had essentially covered the UA quirk assessment that Aizawa does. We also went over the heroes versus villains as well as the USJ, and one big thing that had happened on the last part was that Shirakumo, he's back. Deku had healed him and turned him back to a human. He had reversed the effects of the nomification, I guess you could say. And since that happened, Aizawa has actually brightened up a little bit. He's become a little nicer to everybody, and now he's a little bit better of a teacher. And also Deku healed him from his tiredness, and he can do that whenever. So Aizawa, now he's not going to have to be tired all the time and going to sleep in the middle of class. So Aizawa's going to be a little more, a little bit more in game, I guess you could say. So we're going to go ahead and jump right over to the 2-week break that we had left off on. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so during this time, Deku's essentially just going to be training with Bakugo pretty extremely hard during the 2 weeks. Bakugo and Deku are just going to bounce off of each other and, help each other, figure out their weaknesses, help each other strengthen themselves. And Bakugo would have told Deku that instead of working so much on his flight and everything else, he should focus on something else. As Deku would decide that, Bakugo's actually kind of right. So he would decide to focus on his Archangel attacks and try to perfect everything in terms of that. And during that time, he would also try to hone his Sunshine power as well, trying to see if he could get it under control, as well as, put a certain amount of output on it, because he doesn't want to accidentally kill a villain by accident. I mean, his power is tremendous and he doesn't want to do that, So we're going to go ahead and just do that. So during that time, Deku would have actually learned how to control it a little bit more. And, the only time that now he's going to have a lot more trouble on putting like the output and input and like absorbing it is going to be at noon or close to noon, because that's when things really become a challenge. So yeah, in terms of Bakugo's training, Bakugo just would have done a little bit of combat training as well as making his explosions stronger, doing something just like what he had done in the Force training arc, trying to make his explosions grow even bigger and stronger, making his sweat glands expand. So we're gonna go ahead and return to school where, Aizawa's there, and he walks up to Deku and he just says, "Hey, thanks again for, helping Shirakumo." As Deku's just like, "Oh yeah, no problem." As Aizawa would then walk up in there and he would say, "Also, one more thing. We're going to be having a brand new teacher added to the system." As Deku would say, "Really? That's pretty cool." As, we're going to go ahead and have a little bit of a, what could you call it? Little bit of a training session, I guess you could say, with Shirakumo. Shirakumo would have actually taken 2 days that they have before the UA festival, and would have actually decided that, he's going to help train these kids a little bit and help them get stronger. Shirakumo would be his older self, and he would be about the same age as Aizawa. And since he already had gone to UA, and I'm pretty sure I'm not sure what year he was in when he died, or when he got turned into a Nomu, but we're just going to say that they ended up giving him a hero license, and now he's working at UA. So that being said, he starts teaching some of the kids. Deku and Bakugo are really not taught too much, since Shirakumo can't really teach them much. He would have also found out that he can make portals now, and his quirk would have definitely gotten even stronger. But with that being said, Deku just smiles and thinks that it's pretty cool that he did this good deed for everybody. So he also likes the idea of, having Aizawa take it easy and stuff like that. So he can just decide that during the UA festival, he's going to make himself known and go for number 1. As we're going to go ahead and skip to the day of the UA Sports Festival, as Deku would proceed to give the speech that he does in canon, except this time, when he goes to the race, he just absolutely blitzes it. Like, there is no competition, there is no, anything. Todoroki's ice, no. Deku just, I'm not going to lie to you guys, Deku just blitz it with his wings, and he just flies off. Like, it's not even a joke at this point. So Then we're going to go ahead and get into the cavalry, which is not actually going to be that much of an issue since it's going to be the teams consisting of Bakugo, Deku, Uraraka, as well as Dark Shadow. So this is going to be pretty simple for them since Uraraka would decide that the best choice of action would be to make everybody weightless and have Deku just fly around so that they can just stay out of reach and they can, complete the cavalry battle without any casualties. As Bakugo would have had the third place headband with Deku. Oh wait, no, Bakugo would definitely be in second with Deku first, so they would have the most amount of points. Everybody else would kind of be struggling to, get points off each other, and Todoroki would see this and he would try to catch them off guard before Deku could fly off, but Deku would just avoid it and use Arc as the ice would just explode and Deku would just fly off into the air as their team just ends up playing the waiting game and ends up winning this. So that goes pretty simply. So now we're going to go ahead and jump into the battles, but before that, we have to talk about how Ojiro actually ends up warning Deku about Shinso's mind control, but Deku doesn't really pay too much mind to this, and when the battle starts, Shinso asks Deku how he feels, or how it feels to have such an amazing quirk, as Deku says that you have an amazing quirk too, don't you? As Shinso would smile and say, got you. And right as he then says, walk off, Deku then says, what do you mean walk off? As Shinso would be surprised, he'd be like, what? I can't control him? As, Mael would go right in front of him and say, there is no controlling me. As he would then flick Shinso using a little bit of Sunshine's power, as Shinso gets flung into a crater, as he then gets taken out instantly. As Deku just smiles and flies up into the air, saying that he's going to be the winner. And you guys can expect that from him. He's going to become one of the greatest heroes and save anybody in need. As the crowd just goes berserk and they're like, Mael! Mael! They're all going pretty crazy. So, next battle, Todoroki. Todoroki tries to do his little, intimidation, but Deku's aura is just, really, really powerful. He just has a powerful aura around him as he tries to declare war, and Bakugo gets in on that too. So, we have the battle against Todoroki. As, they're walking up to the ring, Todoroki could bump into Deku and say that he should watch where he's going, as Deku would just not really pay too much attention to that. He would say that, he's going to get him back in the fight. As Todoroki would just walk up there. As soon as the match starts, Todoroki would shoot an ice blast at Deku, which Deku just stands there in front of. He legit doesn't move. We are getting a bit closer to noon, and at this point, it's about 11 something. Let's say 11:30 something, right? And Deku's power is, emanating from his body. So when the ice comes at him, the ice just melts as Deku just proceeds to walk up to Todoroki, taking slow steps as the ice is just melting around him as it turns into water and just slips off of the arena. As Todoroki's just wondering what this power is, as Deku then proceeds to walk up to him and say, this power, it's called Sunshine. As Deku then creates an arc weapon as he then slashes at Todoroki, cutting up his clothes, nothing but his clothes, and leaving him small scratches on his body. As Deku would then make the weapon disappear, as Todoroki is then just like, as he falls to his knees, and he's just like, how is he so strong? As Deku just smiles at him, and Todoroki's just like, as he's just kind of angry. As he then shoots fire straight at Deku's face. As, Deku just has that hit him head on. As Deku just continues to walk up to Todoroki. And he picks him up by the throat. As he then punches him and punches him repeatedly, pounding on him. As Endeavor says, Shoto! As Deku just beats on Todoroki. As Todoroki then just is down. As Deku then heals him up. As he then pushes him off of the arena. And Todoroki just falls down as he's then taken out. Todoroki gets up and he's like, what? As Deku then says, I healed you. What did you think I was going to do? Just let you be in pain? As Todoroki then says, but I'm here. As Deku says, it doesn't matter if we're rivals. You're still my classmate. So, yeah. As Todoroki would just kind of ponder that. And, so, we're going to go ahead and have the next battle, which is going to be the Bakugo. So, let's go ahead and get started. Bakugo will proceed to, look at Deku as he then says, hey, I want you to go all out. And I can see what time it is, so I definitely want you to use that power. I want to see how I stack up against it. As Deku would say, are you sure about this? As Bakugo says that he's sure. As Deku would then say that, okay. As Deku would stand there in the arena as he waits for Bakugo. They would say go, and Bakugo and Deku would just look at the time as they would then say, it's almost time. As Deku says, I know. as he would stand, as he would begin to grow into a gigantic form, being as big and tall as Mael, as Deku would proceed to just grow in size and mass, as Bakugo would stare at him nonchalantly, but just in total just in fear on the inside, as Deku would say if he's sure about this, and Bakugo would say he is, as Deku would proceed to just hold one finger out and then touch Bakugo as Bakugo gets close to him and tries to shoot an explosion. But that one touch of the finger would have dropped Bakugo to the floor, leaving him in a near-death state, as everybody in the arena is just watching as Deku just touched the kid. That's all he did, but he had that much power, as Aizawa, Shirakumo, and what's his name, President Mike would just be like, and there we have it, folks. Mael is the winner, as the crowd is just silent, as Deku then walks up to him and has his sunshine ability, as he then heals Bakugo from afar, and Bakugo then gets up as he then says, damn, didn't know it was gonna end that bad for me. As Deku would say, well, what did you expect? As Bakugo then says, guess I'll never catch up to you. As Deku says that one day you might, so don't give up. As Bakugo then smiles and says, right. So, with that being said, they all get the medals. Bakugo gets second, Todoroki gets third, and Deku gets first place. So we're gonna go ahead and jump back to class. All of the students will be in class just discussing what had happened in the UA Sports Festival, as Shirakumo would just walk up to Deku and say that his power it's incredible. What's his quirk? As Deku would say that his quirk is Angel's Grace, as Shirakumo would just be like, that's a pretty cool quirk name. What does it do? As Deku explains to him that at 12 o'clock at noon, he becomes invincible, and that his power rises with the sun, as well as his arc powers, his light abilities, and his wings and his enhanced speed, as well as perception of time. He has a lot of things that nobody else in this My Hero world could ever comprehend. So, Shirakumo just thinks that this kid is definitely going to become the #1 hero. I mean, how couldn't he? He has healing, he has the power, and he has the personality to become the next All Might. Heck, he won't be the next All Might. He'll be the first Mael. There's not going to be a next All Might, but there is going to be somebody better. So, Deku would proceed to smile as he hears that from him, as they all ask what their hero name is, as Deku would proceed to ponder this a little bit and think, my name is going to be the Angel Hero, Mael. As everybody in the class would just wonder why he picked that name, as he would proceed to explain to them that, long ago there used to be these angels who, the 4 angels, as Deku would just explain that and everybody would understand, as, they think that it actually works. I mean, he does have the Angel's Grace as a quirk, and his name is quite literally an angel name. So Deku would proceed to smile as he picks that name, and, they then start looking at their internships. Deku would look at everything as, he's just sitting there, just looking around, thinking of what's going to go on, what is he going to do? Who is he going to go with? As, Deku is just having a hard time deciding who the hell he should pick. I mean, he doesn't know who he could pick. As All Might would then burst through the corner and say, hey, kid, I have a question, young Mael. As Deku would say, oh, and what's that, All Might? As he would say, I've seen your power. You're pretty incredible, and there's somebody who I think that you might be able to learn a thing or two about during the internship. As Deku would say, oh really, who's that? As, All Might would proceed to explain to him about Gran Torino, how he was his old master and he whipped him into shape, so maybe he could help Deku out. As Deku would decide that maybe this is a good idea. The rest of the heroes don't really have anything that they could teach him, since he's almost positive that the only thing he would go to learn would be how to do hero patrols and how to just wander the streets, since he knows that he's already stronger than the #1 hero. I mean, what can the rest of them teach him? As he then accepts All Might's offer and says that, Gran Torino, huh? I'll definitely do it. As All Might would smile and think that, damn, he should have gave this kid one for all. I mean, he would be a god among men if he had that. As Deku would just smile at All Might, as he then says, well, thanks for the offer, All Might. As, the very next day, Deku would proceed to ride on the train as he's then heading towards Gran Torino's place. As he arrives, he would see Gran Torino on the floor in a pool of blood, As Deku would not freak out, he would then hold his hand above Gran Torino's head as he then starts healing him. But then he feels that Gran Torino's fine. As after he's done healing him, Gran Torino would have gotten up and been like, what? As Gran Torino then looks at Deku, and Deku just looks at him and says, hey, so do you feel better now? As Gran Torino's like, what did you do? As Deku says, I healed you. I healed your body. I reverted it back to when you were a little younger. As Gran Torino would look himself in the mirror and he would be 20 years younger. I mean, Gran Torino got younger? What? As Deku would stare at him and Gran Torino would be like, kid, you made me, how the hell did you? As Deku would say that I healed your body to the point where, it reversed you. As Gran Torino would say, just be shocked. As he would then say, kid, I like your style. As he then smiles and thinks that, this is a good thing. Maybe he can go back to being a hero, or just finally be able to just do things that he wasn't able to do anymore. As Gran Torino would smile and then say, kid, get ready. As Gran Torino would then proceed to use his unorthodox movements to just beat on Deku. For the next 3 days, Deku would just proceed to get beat on by Gran Torino. As Gran Torino would notice that Deku holds himself back. He always tends to hold back the power of sunshine instead of, honing it and learning to just use the power all out. As Gran Torino would tell Deku to stop thinking of that power as something divine or special. Just start thinking of it as something normal. As Gran Torino would essentially give Deku the one-for-all treatment. And Deku would decide that, he will. As Deku would actually decide that, maybe there is some way that he can actually become stronger and hold his power in during the day. And hold it in and hone it so that later he can disperse it out at night. Of course, he can hold the power in his body since he is half an angel, so half of his body can actually handle sunshine, but the other half, the part that's human, that's the reason that he bulks up. So Deku decides that maybe he could create a weapon or something that could hold all the power in that he has. As we all know where this is going, as Deku would proceed to write a request to get a weapon that can hold in the stored energy that he has, that his body exerts. As we already know what's gonna happen, Deku's gonna be getting the Axe Rita. As you already know, guys, I know it's not Mael's, but it is Sunshine's, and they both are pretty great characters. So Deku would proceed to keep training with Gran Torino as he then gets a little bit more of a hold on Sunshine, as well as how to fight opponents that just move weird, how to fight opponents that don't fight in the traditional way. As now, we're gonna go ahead and skip to when they're on the bus, when the Nomu's attacking. The Nomu would break through the window. As Deku would fly out and grab the Nomu by the neck as he then flies into a building, smashing him straight through 3 buildings. As the Nomu is then like, as Deku then says, die, as he holds his hand and says, purge! As he then purges the Nomu, reverting it back to when it was a human. As the Nomu just turns into a normal guy. As Deku then says, there's more of them, isn't there? As the guy's just confused, just wondering what's happening, as he says, go down, somebody will find you and ask for help. As Deku would fly off and begin to look for more Nomus. As before he can do anything else, he would see that one of his classmates, Ida, was actually about to get attacked. As Deku would shoot an arrow of light at Stain, cutting one of his arms and, having Stain have to jump back. Stain would be holding his arm back as he knows that definitely took a toll on him. As Deku would land there, as he then says, what are you doing? As Stain would say, all you fake heroes getting in my way tonight. As he would then proceed to rush at Deku. And Deku would just have his aura flare up. As Stain just is looking at Deku as he just can't move. He's paralyzed by the power that's in front of him. In the way that Galand was when he saw Escanor. That's exactly what would happen. As Deku would proceed to just hold his hand out. As he then punches Stain right in the gut, punching him straight into a crater into 3 buildings. As Stain would be no more. This means that Dabi, Toga, Spinner, those characters never end up joining the League of Villains, as well as some other fodder characters who weren't there before. So, this is going to take a hit on the League of Villains, and it's going to be a big help to the heroes. So that being said, Stain gets taken out relatively quickly, and Deku just goes around purging the rest of the Nomus, trying to revert them back to their human state. As Shigaraki and Kurogiri see this in the nighttime, they're just like, that damn brat, I'll kill him. As, Shigaraki actually decides that he's gonna have the Quirk Doctor create a Nomu that's gonna be so powerful that not even that kid's gonna be able to take him on, as this is gonna create something even stronger than the high-end Nomu. A smart Nomu with power that has never been seen before. Our enemies are gonna get smarter, and they're gonna get stronger too. So, Deku better be ready for this. And with that being said, Deku would proceed to get not scolded this time, but praised. He handled the situation as best as possible, and Deku would actually get the credit. He would proceed to get all of the credit, as Deku was now known as the kid who helped save Hosuh City, took out Stain, reversed the Nomus to before they were, the demon monsters that they are now. And Deku would just be hailed as one of the strongest UA students ever. As, Deku would definitely start getting the recognition that he deserves. But with that being said, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed part 3 to What If Deku Was Mael's Reincarnation. But with nothing else to say, guys, your like goal is gonna be 300 likes. So if you guys are gonna be wanting a 4th part to this, you guys are gonna have to be smashing 300 likes. But with that being said, it has been your boy Zether, and I am